Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Before Tuesday, what is the new third quarterback rule going to impact that? Because, I mean, I think for the last few years it's been two guys across the board. But you, as a quarterback guy, as an offensive guy, how
you
much...
can go a step further. As a third quarterback guy, the shoe fits, wear it. So.
When you put yourself on purpose, what's that when the roster goes?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question now because I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time kind of really diving in on that the other day because there are some really unique rules to that. But our particular setup is exactly the setup where it benefits because Jaren can be on our roster, but more importantly, be in uniform as that emergency third quarterback on game day.
Wow, look at you guys! Just a couple of sparring last week. Sparring. I'm not gonna throw Kirk under the bus. You guys are. And now he's glad that you asked the question.
Yeah.
He's a third quarterback guy. Man.
Well, tipped his hand a little bit too, so I thought that was a very interesting, insightful answer.
He pretty much just confirmed that Jaren Hall's on the 53-man roster.
Yeah, they're going to keep three quarterbacks, which means they're going to keep one less position somewhere else.
Well, I guess we could back up a step. They're going to keep three quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is it going to be these three quarterbacks? Well, they have four quarterbacks now because they got the Teamu came over a couple days ago. So there's also an Ian Rappaport. He does not just float stuff. I think we're going to go deeper on that maybe tomorrow morning on Purple Daily, not on this live stream, but Ian Rappaport recklessly speculating on Trey Lance Vikings now that Sam Darnold has been given the backup quarterback spot. So we're going to dissect that, put some feelers out, and then do more on that tomorrow. But hey, there's three quarterback slots confirmed today by Kevin O'Connell up for grabs.
Yes, because again, the third QB rule is he has to be on the 53-man roster, but if he is, he doesn't count on the game day roster, but he can play if there is a crisis, i.e. the 49ers game for Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game last year. So yes, it makes a lot of sense that they're going to keep three quarterbacks. The question is, where does that roster spot come from? That is the dilemma.
So Judd's Camp Notes is here live after the first of two joint practices between the Vikings and the Cardinals. You have braved the warm temperatures. We have, I'm guessing, pretty high up in the notebook, a TJ Hawkinson update that we're going to get to. But before we turn it over to Judd's Camp Note, the world-renowned and world-famous Judd's Camp Notes, let's shout out our friends over at TCL, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Learn more at TCL.com and inspire greatness with TCL. And you know what? What would be really good today, humid, hot, sweaty, just a nice, crisp, cold can of Surly's Before I Die Lager to cool you down, bring the body temperature back down to level.
I only wish that those cans, those glorious Before I Die cans, had been available because there is a media water cooler that the Vikings are kind enough to put out during practice on a day like this. But what if instead of water, it was the delicious Before I Die? Can you imagine the amount of media that would come out? The fans who would storm the field just to get their hands on one of those great cans, and it's a fantastic beer. And yes, it is what Judd likes to sip on lots of times while preparing his camp notes. Check it out from our friends at Surly.
Let's get it. Yeah, we're live right now on the Purple Daily YouTube channel here, a little late afternoon live stream. You'll be able to find this obviously in audio form on Apple and Spotify. Please click the subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel and the like button if you are listening to this on demand, or I should say a 5-star rating and a positive review would be great on Apple Podcasts. I see we have a 1,300 Spotify reviews, and they're like all 5 stars. So thank you guys. If you're a Spotify listener, we really appreciate that. Judd, the camp notes are yours. Where do you want to start?
All right, let's start off with what you mentioned before, TJ Hawkinson, because TJ Hawkinson, again, was not taking part in team drills. And remember, now we're in the final days of training camp, and it is the second joint practice in 2 weeks. Tennessee last week, Arizona today, and tomorrow, TJ Hawkinson, again, doing individual work as he was yesterday during a walkthrough. But then whenever they get into team drills at all, TJ Hawkinson takes a powder. He leaves. or he at least watches. He does not participate. And of course, up until now, it has been some type of inner ear infection that quote unquote threw off his equilibrium. He could not balance. He could balance well enough to take part in some drills, but he couldn't take part in team drills. Well, the narrative changed today because our friend Kevin Seifert of ESPN, who does a fantastic job, and before me, keep in mind, lead beat writer at the Star Tribune covering the Vikings. So like it was Seifert before me. He asked O'Connell about Hockenson's continued absence, and it has now been changed to the ear is fine, he's back from the ear, but hold on a second, wait, it's now back stiffness. Their back stiffness is now impeding TJ Hockenson. He might take part tomorrow in team drills, we don't know. I'm going to put my house on he won't be unless there's a contract done, and I will give you what O'Connell said when Seifert followed up with, are you sure it's not about the contract? But Phil, why don't you first tell us what Diana Rossini just tweeted, because I think this goes hand in hand perfectly.
Yeah, so she tweeted, the Vikings and tight end TJ Hockenson have been working on an extension, but both sides are far apart, according to league sources. Hockenson wants to reset the market with an historic contract extension for tight ends. So that would be $40+ million guaranteed. We're talking, Waller is making $17 million a year, so that would be the parameters we're talking about. And then period, he has been limited at practice because of an ear infection and back soreness. So that is not, she doesn't say he's sitting out because of the contract. She's saying, here's where the contract situation is at. It's definitely a thing. The two sides are far apart. Space. And he's been sitting out for since August 3rd, I think. So for like 3 weeks with an ear infection and back soreness.
Yes, he's been well enough to take part in individual drills, which by the way are football. They're not contact, but they are football. And now his back has flared up. So off of that, Seifert asked O'Connell a follow-up, which was essentially something along the lines of, are you sure this isn't contract? Because, come on, let's just call a spade here. To which O'Connell responded, my dialogue with TJ in regards to his training camp or whatever that's looked like has really been about the ear infection first and working through that. And some of his rehab work kind of popped up to maybe cause some lower back stiffness. He has not indicated to me one time that is about the contract. And look, we would love to have him in every drill, but we've got to have a process where we get these guys healthy, feeling really good to go compete as we head towards the season. So what this is this again is why you never want full control of the operation. What Kevin O'Connell is saying is TJ has never told me this. Now, my guess is Kwesi and Rob Brzezinski have walked down the hallway and said, we got ourselves a good old-fashioned hold-in. But O'Connell's just saying, hey, TJ's never said that to me. So what's going on here? Again, we've been talking about this for weeks now, but it's important because he's an incredibly important player. What's going on here is he is holding in. He is taking part in some drills. He is showing his dissatisfaction without having a contract. And the only real question is, if this is not done by September the 10th, what happens then? So, this is going to continue. But keep in mind, too, and this is not the current regime, but, the Rick Spielman Brzezinski team did contract extensions. I remember in particular Adrian Peterson and Dalvin Cook a day before the regular season opened. Yeah. So that this could get done. I guess my question is, if it's not done, and he really is now, Rossini, that's interesting that she says he's trying to reset the market. I didn't know that. So if he's really,
we've speculated on that though, that he's the next guy in line, and the train keeps moving with these contracts.
But if he's shooting for the moon, there's a chance the Vikings are like, we can't do that. So I'm just curious again, what's the end game here? If they're like, dude, we can't. We'll do a fair contract, but we're not going to allow you to reset the tight end market. What's the end game there?
My biggest question here for Declan probably is, do the people who are critical of Judd's coverage of TJ Hockenson owe him an apology? Judd, you're just drumming up drama. you're making this contract thing a thing. How do you know it's a thing? Did Diana Rossini confirming that the two sides are far apart? Now, no one has confirmed that this is the reason why he's been sitting out for 3 weeks. But do people owe Judd Zulgad an apology is what I want to know.
I don't know if it's an apology. I think it's an acknowledgement. You need to acknowledge your sports dad here, okay? Acknowledge me, whether it's in Minnesota, whether it's outside the Midwest. Acknowledge what sports dad is talking about here, and don't just chalk it up of, oh, you're stirring up rumors or you're stirring up clickbait. By the way, I'm in charge of the ladder on that, okay? So get your facts right if you want to go down that path.
Yeah.
But no,
Declan's the clickbait officer around here.
Darn it.
Okay,
exactly.
Make sure that's right. But Judd doesn't owe anyone an apology. Judd doesn't owe anyone anything else. People owe Judd. They should acknowledge Judd that he's been onto this, and yes, he's been onto it. It's good to see.
You know what? I don't want a sorry. I don't want that. My job here is to dish out the truth. We are sports therapists. That your therapist doesn't have to be your favorite person. Sometimes they tell you the truth, and you're like, that's not true. And acceptance takes a while. So what Purple Daily does, and God bless a lot of you out there because you enjoy it, but what Purple Daily does is it delves into truths that a lot of people who are fans and or work in our business in this town don't want to delve into. And the reality is this: TJ Hockenson is a very important player. And until this is done, this is a conversation now. Like I don't think it's going away. It clearly is not. I mean, we have now invented another problem for him. Like, what's next? Right. A knee?
Well, I mean, how much do you think? I do believe he had an ear infection. I don't know. I guess maybe it's possible they don't have to put an official injury report out, so you can literally just say anything you want.
My body hurts every day I wake up. Like, there'd be a reason why
you were out there at practice.
Exactly. I like everyone's body. These guys are professional football players. They do like one day of training camp, and most of them, especially guys like Hockenson, they probably hurt somewhere, right?
When you texted me your afternoon Judd video, I was a little concerned when I saw the thumbnail. I was like, oh my God, is Judd okay?
There's a lot of sweat up. Oh, God, it was sweaty out there. You know what? It wasn't as bad as I expected.
Sweaty one? The sweaty video?
It was a very sweaty video. And I actually had gone inside and stuck my head in the sink bit basically to rinse my hair. So it looked worse.
Like in the media bathroom of Twin Cities Orthopedic, they got like four sinks.
They've got like 4 sinks.
So one of them's ruined forever. Now they have.
It's not ruined. It's not ruined. I stuck my head in there. Nothing more.
I'm trying to envision.
Just like put the top of my head in there and I got my hair.
Other esteemed media members walking in, and Judd's just like, he's like on all fours on the counter, just his head's underneath the faucet.
It ain't like I'm working with Red Smith there.
Red Smith. It's an unnecessary shot at the local
No,
media.
I like my pals in the media, but none of us are exactly.
None of them are legendary, though. Like
exactly right. Exactly right. So anyway, the Hockenson update is, I guess, Diana Rossini, from a national standpoint, has taken the step that we've been talking about, but that is that the contract is very much involved in what is transpiring here. And if TJ Hockenson is looking to be the highest paid tight end by a decent margin, this is going to have a very intriguing conclusion. I don't know he's going to get what he wants. I have a hard time believing he's not going to be playing September 10th.
Yeah, I think he plays no matter what, but I have a couple questions off this. Number one, let's start with this one. Is it a big deal, just from an offensive cohesiveness standpoint, that he has missed 3 weeks and counting, and likely the rest of if he's got a lower back problem or whatever it is, he's not going to practice tomorrow they're not just going to throw him out there in a live scrimmage, right? He's not going to play in the preseason game. Like, is it a big deal that he's going to miss at least a month of practice?
I don't think it helps. Now, O'Connell tried to dismiss it as, hey, he joined us in Washington, approximately halfway through the season last year, and he was great, and I fully expect he'll be great, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, we've talked about this, and people have called BS, but I don't care. Any type of distraction can be a problem. And, like, this is a guy you want practicing. Like, this is of the guys that I want practicing, this is a guy that I want. And I will say this as far as Johnny Munt, who is now the best third tight end in National Football League history. Johnny Munt has looked good, but I will say the more I watch, Josh Oliver is getting a hell of a chance to play the Hockenson role. Like today, he was catching passes right and left. He was blocking some, but I mean, he is supposed to be a blocking tight end, and we know from his collegiate career he can catch passes. Well, watching him today in practice, he's catching passes. So,
yeah.
So again, I think Hockenson's going to play on September 10th. I think it hurts him not to practice for this long, but if you're looking for the positive trade-off, Josh Oliver is getting some great reps that he would not have gotten if TJ was practicing.
My last thing on this, it's less of a question, more of a take, I guess, is what did everyone expect when it came to his contract? Okay, he's a top 10, former top 10 pick, right? Super talented, one of the most, I would say in terms of like draft status, he's one of the more highly coveted young tight ends in recent NFL history. He's one of the top 5 receiving tight ends in the NFL. He's going to wind up going over 1,000 yards probably this season, right? He's in the middle of his prime. He's 26 years old. And the Vikings traded for him going into a contract situation. On what planet would he not ask to be paid among the top of the tight end market? Like we do this well, this quarterback's not worth that money. It doesn't matter. The salary cap goes up. The new quarterback, as long as you're a top 15 quarterback, Matthew Stafford became the highest paid quarterback once. Matt Ryan became the highest paid quarterback once. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, like it happens at every position. So I don't understand why, like if you're the Vikings front office, why are you far apart? What did you, unless their whole plan was to not give him a contract extension? I guess why is there confusion over why he would ask to be paid among the top tight ends in the NFL?
Well, I guess I would like to know what he's asking for. Like, is he asking to be among the top tight ends, or is he looking to establish, above Travis Kelce, because he's not the best tight end. But here's what so to answer your rhetorical question, though, here's what I expected, okay? I thought some of these contracts would be done by now. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson, who, look, I mean, they've got some time. He's not holding out, or in this case, holding in. The Danielle Hunter one got done late. Hawkinson's
not an extension. Exactly. I don't think Kwesi in a year and a half has given any extensions.
But that's Kirk. So I guess my point is, to answer your rhetorical question, I thought some of these would be done. Like, I did not think the Hockenson one, if you had said at the start of camp, okay, the Hunter thing's going to be a problem for a few weeks, I'd be like, of course it is. I fully expect that. But Judd, Sports Dad, what's going to be the real pain in the ass? I'd be like, no, what? The Hockenson contract. I'd be like, no, it's not. That's going to get done. So yes, I expected that we would get the Brian O'Neill contract tweaked to open up some more cap room. And I expected that at least one or two of these extensions would get done. I am very surprised that we sit here today and essentially, to what you just were talking about, Phil, nothing's been done.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Before we dig deeper into Judd's camp notes and get to the non-Hockenson stuff from today, a shout out to our friends at Manscaped. Old Macadac brought his little Manscaped beard hedger along on this trip to Denver for the podcast movement. And I can tell people think that this beard's pretty sharp out here in the Rockies. All right, they haven't said anything to me, but I can tell the way they're looking at my beard.
And you can also maybe invest, Phil, in one of these handyman, right? Okay, the little handyman, it fits in your pocket. It's nice. I mean, it's not even as big as your palm. And there's nothing.
You carry yours around in your pocket all
the time. All the time. And Vinny now perks up because he hears an electric razor. Don't worry, Vinny. No Manscaped for the puppy, just for Dad. He's got engagement pictures coming up. He's got to make sure he looks good. My friends at Manscaped are making sure that happens. Go to manscaped.com and use promo code PURPLE. You will get 20% off any item at Manscaped. Go to the checkout page. There's a promo tab right when you hit checkout and type in the promo code PURPLE for 20% off any product at Manscaped. Shout out to our friends at manscaped.com for making Purple Daily happen.
Trimming your beard is one way to look skinnier than maybe you actually are, but Livia is a way to actually get skinnier and lose actual weight.
Look at this guy.
Look at that guy right there. Exactly right. Down 40 pounds. And look, it's a program that absolutely works. How do I know it works? Well, one, it worked for me. Two, it's worked for a lot of the fans of Score North, and we certainly appreciate that. And three, it's been voted the best weight loss program 3 consecutive years. That's right. Livea voted the best weight loss program in the state 3 consecutive years. 14 years of changing lives. And now, if you want to drop weight, they are looking to change your life for the positive with 3 months free right now. That's right. 3 months for free right now. The program works. It's absolutely fantastic. It's been, again, recognized 3 consecutive years, best weight loss program in the entire state. 855-GO-LIVEA, Livea.com. And also, if you are not in the state. So you're like, well, I'd love to join, Judd, but I am in, I don't know where Phil is, Denver. Guess what? It doesn't matter. Everything can be done virtually. So inside the state or out, if you're trying to drop weight, go with a program that Sports Dad swears by, Livea.com.
All right, let's keep going here through Judd's camp notes. And thank you guys for hanging out with us live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Click the like button and the subscribe button to help us grow this platform. Thank you very much. All right, Sports Dad.
Okay, so I think we should circle back on the clip that Declan played to open the show about O'Connell carrying 3 QBs, because a lot of 53 projections for next Tuesday are out now. Our friend Dane Mizutani, the Pioneer Press, just did his. I believe our friend Alex Lewis of The Athletic is going to do his. I think Seifert's comes out on Saturday. So a lot of projections out. I've done, of course, 3 of them on this show. And every time I've kept a third QB just because I think O'Connell will. Well, after, I'm not sure what you guys thought exactly, but after we did hear his answer today, there is no question in my mind, unless he's flat out fibbing. And look, when it comes to like the Hawkinson thing, there's a give and take, right? He's going to fib about that. I wish he wouldn't, but he's going to. It's just the way life works. On the quarterback thing, I think it's near and dear to his heart. And I don't think Kevin O'Connell, if there were 2 draft picks that I had to say, you know what, those are Kevin's picks. Jordan Addison in the 1st round, I think was his pick, and Jaren Hall in the 5th round. Yeah. And so I think that Jaren Hall, who, by the way, is, had an up and down camp. There are attributes for sure. There are things like today in full speed drills where it's like, this game is far too fast. But I think that the 3rd QB rule is basically one of the reasons why they took a 5th round quarterback is that rule, because that gives them, and O'Connell especially, to say the freedom to say, I'm not going to cut this guy and try to get him through to the practice squad. So I am now convinced that they're going to go with 3 QBs. And I believe in my 53-man projections, I have been shorting them a running back compared to what they did last year. Yeah. But this is about as sure as I have been that the Vikings and a lot of teams are going to go back to keeping 3 QBs instead of 2.
Hey, did Jaren Hall get in to the group practice today, or was it mostly Kirk Cousins and Nick Mullins?
Jaren Hall got a few reps. It was mostly Cousins. There was a ton of Cousins. There was some Nick Mullins, and Jaren Hall got reps, but not a lot. I'm guessing he's going to start Saturday, though. And Jordan Ta'amu is here to back him up. I don't even know if Jordan's going to play. He might play the 4th quarter, but I think Jaren Hall, I think the plan is to get him a boatload of work on Saturday, which will be good. But I think the moment he was drafted, his roster position was safe, unless they trade for Trey Lance. But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Well, that is it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
How about real quick on the Trey Lance front? Because we've actually had this discussion for probably 2 years, like literally going back 2 years ago. The first time we ever talked about Kirk to San Francisco was the end of 2020. It was like November of 2020, and they were kind of struggling or whatever. And, we've just been connecting the dots. But then there was a phase where, okay, Trey Lance was on board. Would there be maybe like a Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins swap or something? But now you could probably get Trey Lance for, I don't know, a 6th round pick or something.
Garage sale price.
Right?
He was in my backyard a couple of weeks ago and no one bought him when Dawn and her friend were having a garage sale. That's how cheap Trey Lance is going to be. Yes. 6th round pick, a 7th round pick. And by the way, I bet San Francisco would pick up some of his salary cap hit for the season. The other thing too is I keep seeing, well, he's near the end of his contract. Okay, if they acquire him, he ain't going to play. He's going to sit. And O'Connell is literally going to try to groom him, which I think O'Connell will be tempted by. And the thing about it is, his next contract is going to be very reasonable.
So wait a second, just real quick. So is Trey Lance going into year 3 or 4? This is year 3, right?
Hold on a second here.
You'd have to make a decision on his 5th-year option.
You do what the Packers
after
did with,
the season.
You do what the Packers did with Love.
Like a 2-year hedge
You
deal.
decline it and give him an extension. But the extension would be very reasonable.
Yep. It would be like a little bit above backup money.
And
but
just to be clear,
he hasn't played in like 4 years, like meaningful snaps.
And I'm on Team Dex here. I don't love this idea, but I see how the pieces are coming together in the puzzle here.
Ian Rappaport does not throw that out there.
Well,
on a whim, right? He's getting information, and he's taking the information and floating it as a thought, but it's being told to him.
Yes, and at the same time that Rap Sheet was reporting that, and I think Pelissero broke it, and then Rap Sheet speculated about that. Sirius NFL Radio started talking about the exact same thing, and the Vikings.
Yeah. Okay. So they're talking.
Well, and look, I've been seeing, the Vikings aren't that stupid. They're not going to. First of all, I tweeted this. Kevin O'Connell, unlike Sports Dad, is an optimist. Kevin O'Connell doesn't look at Trey Lance and say, he sucks. Kevin O'Connell says, what can I get from Trey Lance? The other thing, too, is Kevin O'Connell has the ego of a quarterback, okay? Now, he failed as a quarterback, but he's wired like one. Wouldn't he love nothing more than to pick up a Kyle Shanahan reject and rehabilitate him?
Yeah, there's a whole tentacle. I mean, how much, if Kyle Shanahan can't make it work, can anyone make it work? I mean, that's a legitimate argument. But to your point, if you're Kevin O'Connell,
don't think like that.
It's not as much about will it work, it's about does Kevin O'Connell think he can make it work?
In fact, you know what? That goes perfect with the response I got from O'Connell today that sort of tried to put me in my place a little bit, but I totally get it. So, first of all, breaking news yesterday, coming off the field, I tried to stop then linebacker Brian Asamoah to talk about him because he came back to walkthrough. Now, he did not participate today. So the reason why I think he wouldn't talk to me was he's still not entirely healthy. But I did say, okay, Brian, I got one question. And he turned around. How do you pronounce your last name? Asamoah. Brian Asamoah. So he said it's Asamoah. I did not have time to ask, hey, why have we been saying Asamoah for X amount of years? Yeah. But anyway, so during the course of the O'Connell press conference today, I believe it was Andrew Kramer, of course, formerly of 1500 ESPN fame, and now the Star Tribune, asked about Asamoah and his progress, blah, blah, blah. And so when O'Connell got done, I said, what's wrong with him? Because O'Connell hadn't, and like they've been telling us what's wrong with a ton of people. Mm-hmm. And they didn't tell us with Asamoah. And O'Connell said a shoulder, but he also corrected me and said, I don't see it as what's wrong with him. I see it as what he's coming back from. See, this is the difference between a positive person and a negative person. Like, but this is a guy, but that's
a life lesson for all of us right there.
Well, and I disagree with him completely. Something's wrong with him. But the fact is, the way that Kevin sees life is, and like, he's not going to look at Trey Lance and say he sucks.
What's wrong with Trey Lance? No. Where's the opportunity to turn Trey Lance into a franchise quarterback? Yeah.
Yes. I'm not kidding too.
Do you think he applies these principles at home with the wife and the kids too?
Yeah.
Do you think he's the same type of person?
Yes.
I was curious.
I think he is, but I think he is also, because he played too, I think he falls into the list of people I've talked about who suspend belief. So they don't see the bad. They see the possibility.
I like it, man. I think the world could use more
Kirk and I see the bad.
Refreshing, positive outlook.
Kirk sees the bad. I can tell.
Yeah, the Netflix series really shined a light on that, right? Oh my God, this went too far. He's gonna miss it. Oh God, this is terrible. Get me out of here.
If you remember, O'Connell got pissed because O'Connell's like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, no. What it's fine. It's fine. It's great.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
So anyway,
what?
Yeah.
God, we're so far down the Trey Lance. We're gonna do more on Trey Lance tomorrow. We'll do a full, but just for fun. Would you boot Jaron Hall off the roster? I'm assuming you're going to you need a credible backup quarterback. You're probably going to keep Mullins. Or would you boot Mullins? Which one of those quarterbacks would you boot? You think so?
I think they'd boot Mullins. I think they'd see Lance.
But then you've got Jaron Hall can't be put in a game. And I mean, I guess if Trey Lance can't be trusted to play in a game at this point, then why would you trade for him?
Correct. Right? Correct.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But also, knock on wood, their quarterback doesn't get hurt.
Well, but that doesn't.
I know.
To me, that doesn't necessarily mean like if one 350-pound guy rolls up on you, like, you know,
his ribs were essentially cracked all last season. And he kept playing. Ah,
yeah.
Oh, it's Peter Griffin.
All right, let's keep digging here, trudging through Judd's camp notes. Yeah.
Okay, an up and down practice for the offense. There were times, especially in team drills, where I thought that the medium depth to short passing game did not look great. But I'll tell you what did. The vertical game looked damn good. 7-on-7, Kirk down the left sideline, deep, nicely thrown ball, probably 50 yards. 7-on-7, right sideline, KJ Osborne. Now it's the Cardinals, okay, so the Cardinals D-backs are probably not the best, but nonetheless, let's give them credit. Let's give him credit here. So Jefferson, nice catch, nice ball. Osborne, the same thing. Then Kirk had a route for Jefferson, short route, almost jumped. The defender dropped the ball, but shortly thereafter, a post route, I would say a 50-yard pass in the air to Brandon Powell, caught for a touchdown. Jalen Reagor, same thing. So the vertical game was on point. Short passing game was a little bit dicey at times, but the vertical game looked really good at times today. And Jalen and Reagor's having a good camp. Like that's a thing now.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Kirk, I did see some buzz that maybe we had the annual F-bomb today.
We did.
Is that accurate? Can you confirm that?
Well, I heard it as the F-bomb. It might have been frick, but it was so close. As my teacher in 6th grade said one time when I said frickin', she's like, that's the same thing. Don't use that word anymore.
It's not.
It's not the same
My
thing.
6th grade teacher said it. At the time, I
can say
believed
one
it.
word. I can't say the other on the radio. It's not the same thing at all.
The FCC disagreed.
I think I heard an F-bomb. Okay, I thought I heard an F-bomb.
A confirmed annual F-bomb because he did it in training camp last year too, and it got everyone all fired up.
But that was
a
Dad.
let's F and go, right?
I think it was you effing like that.
Oh, it was the
against
trademark.
the Niners with I think Mom and Dad there, which to me was very much hey, you might be my parents, but I'm going to drop an F-bomb in front of you.
I'm gonna swear, yeah.
This one was a bad play in which the pass got tipped at the line of scrimmage, went straight up in the air, could have been picked. He shouted an F-bomb and took his helmet off and was pissed, which is fine. It's good to see.
Let's fire it up, Kirk. I love it, man. I love it. Just once in a while, he doesn't have to go completely off brand, but just once in a while, just kind of if you can rev it up a little bit to get the guys fired up. A well-placed F-bomb would be more meaningful coming from Kirk Cousins than most guys. All right, it's a good tool in his motivational tool bag.
Amen. Exactly. And I mean, this is the new Kirk too. Like this is the more fun Kirk, the more fired up Kirk. Like this is year 2 of what I consider almost to be like when a sitcom character gets changed. He's like still called Kirk Cousins, but this is the new Kirk Cousins.
It's a new actor. Yeah.
It's a new actor, right? And he's got a lot more like bravado, and he's a lot more fun. That's the new Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Another note. This is very good news. Brian O'Neill, substantial work in team drills in a joint practice. So he is tracking to be prepared to play September 10th against the Bucks, which considering how Oli Udoh played on Saturday against backups for the Titans, and I saw Oli getting some reps today, backup left tackle now. So he's back into the swing thing, the swing tackle, which is great. But unless there's a setback, Brian O'Neill looks like he is firmly in place. He obviously is not going to play on Saturday, but he is firmly in place to be at right tackle opening day. That is huge.
Yeah, so they've mapped this out pretty much to a T, right? I'm sure that they had this probably back in OTAs mini camps. We'll ease him into training camp. get him involved in some team stuff about halfway through, maybe get into a joint practice. So it all seems just on the offensive line front. How did generally the protection hold up compared? The Titans were getting the best of the offensive line quite a bit, the first and second teamers. From your eye, how would you say the first team offensive line held up today?
Average. I would say average. There were times where the Cardinals were definitely in the Vikings backfield pretty quickly. I will say on the deep pass plays, when the vertical game and press, that does take some good blocking there, because if your blocks don't hold up, you're not going to get the pass off because it takes time to develop the play. But I did think that there were definitely times where the Vikings succumbed to the pressure. And, again, I would say it's inside. I don't know how much it's going to improve. I really don't. Pass protection wise, I don't know. I would like to think that Ingram's going to take a huge step, but we need to see it, and we need to see it consistently. You've gone through the Phil, the PFF grades on Ezra Cleveland.
It's kind of
they're really good in run blocking and really average to not so great in pass protection. So
yeah, and with Cleveland, I almost worry a little bit more about Cleveland in that regard, because it's been 3 years, and this is kind of who he is. He's a good run blocker. He's not great in pass protection. Ed Ingram, 1 year under his belt, maybe has more room to improve, maybe a higher ceiling that he taps into, but it's going to be, man, it's kind of crazy that, again, it's the same question with the same spot going in on a Kirk Cousins-led offense.
Okay, recklessly speculating, because I have no knowledge of this, do you think that the September 10th game is going to be a huge game for the guards? Because if you bring Dalton Reisner in right after that game, his salary is not guaranteed. If he is signed right now and he is on the opening day roster, his salary is guaranteed. So we've asked a lot of questions about why is he not signed.
I have an update. You've done some great reporting, some great insighting here, great sleuthing.
Well, you're in Denver.
All right. I am in Denver. I didn't need to be in Denver for this update. But, well, 2 updates, actually. Yeah. Dalton Reisner did put his house on the market here. But that's not, he's not going back to Denver. So that's not a huge update. But here's an update. This is why the Purple Daily audience is so great. It's like having a bunch of little reporter foot soldiers out.
I love them.
So Jake Brunstein, Jake Brew 3 on Twitter, tweets at Dalton Reisner 66 should be on the next plane here to sign a contract with the Vikings. Dalton Reisner liked the tweet. That's right. Dalton Reisner monitoring pro Vikings tweets
with
on
nothing
the internet.
else to do. Yeah.
So, hey, he's interested clearly based on this like of a tweet.
But the Monday after, right? So because his contract is not guaranteed at that point. And I mean, that Tampa Bay game could play. I find it interesting that Chris Cooper, the Vikings offensive line coach, was one of Reisner's coaches in Denver. And they brought Reisner in. They didn't even feel it necessary to work him out. They just talked to him. So, I guess my question is, what did they talk about? And I could look, if the Vikings have not done an extension with anyone so far, it would make sense that they don't want to guarantee Reisner's contract. So, if you're connecting the dots, it would make some sense that if they're like, oh my God, Kirk got pummeled against Tampa Bay, that they would take that step.
I also can't stress enough, because there's been so many Vikings fans I've seen, Twitter or whatever, YouTube comments. Why would you not sign Dalton Reisner? Clearly, this is the clear, obvious move. There are reasons why Dalton Reisner is still a free agent on August 23rd, going into the 3rd preseason game.
Yep.
I don't know all those reasons, but I know that unless he has completely unrealistic contract demands, and he's the only player in the world that's like, I will not play unless I get this much money at the age of 25, 26. Right. There's enough red flags there with him, which is why he's probably on the market still. So let's not act like you're bringing in Steve Hutchinson in his prime. But you don't really need that, right? You just need someone that can hold up better in pass protection than the 2 guys you have right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the sample size from 1 game against Tampa Bay is small, but, you also have 17 games, 18 games last year. I'm just saying, I'm trying to figure out the Reisner thing, and the only thing I can think of is that they just said hang tight. And in this league, it's not like to what you're talking about. It's not like Reisner's got, I got all these other opportunities. So it would be interesting, and he could definitely slide into a guard spot.
Yep. Hey, before we clean out the rest of Judd's camp notes here and get some other fun tidbits from today's practice here, a shout out to our favorite van, the Finch Home Solutions van.
Okay, this van right here, Cody Finch and his team, and you're saying team, Judd? What do you mean team? I mean, look at this van. You know what this screams? This screams purple. This screams purple daily. This screams, though, a good thing, and that is there will never be a hold-in. There will only be service, because while Cody is a huge Vikings fan, he's also huge on serving you for any electrical needs that you have in your home, big or small. So I'm talking about, the screen pass of electrical needs, which might be an outlet, or the vertical pass, the 50-yard in the air, rewire my whole home. Finch Home Solutions can absolutely do it all. They're fast, they're courteous, they are fantastic. Right now, a free electrical inspection available, panel inspection, I should say, or a $199 home safety inspection. 612-357-2604, finchhomesolutions.com, an easy to fill out form. They're going to show up at your house. They are going to tell you exactly what you need. They are going to get it done, and they are going to be done. finchhomesolutions.com. Talk about a winning play. Cody and his team got a winning play for you.
Going to 3Jack is a winning play as well if you're into, great food and drinks and golf in the North Loop, Minneapolis.
I mean, it's hot out there, right? And as much as Dex Tweets loves to swing the sticks and, flirt with breaking 100, I do like to be a little bit cooler, and I can do that at 3Jack, okay? I don't got to worry about those tee times being bogged down. I don't got to worry about sweating my keister off. I can just be at 3Jack enjoying these great apps, getting my swings in. And you know what? If you're a fantasy football person and you're looking to do your draft, you can book your fantasy football draft in one of these bays. You book 2 hours, you get the first hour for free. You can put the draft board up there. You can put Kirk Cousins' face up there. Whatever you want to put up there, you can do it on those golf simulator bays, okay? Go to 3Jack and 3Jack.com to secure those bays and learn more about that promotion. Go to 3Jack in the North Loop.
Speaking of the weather, this would be a good day to just get out into a body of water, one of the 10,000 plus lakes on a Bennington pontoon from Miller Marine or Power Lodge. They're all about throttle therapy. This would be great. We're kind of in that calm before the storm of the football season. So maybe this is your time to take advantage here before Labor Day, before maybe the kids going back to school changes your schedule. Power Lodge and Miller Marine have so many pontoons for you to choose from. And there, maybe you can be like Judd and do backflips off the side like you see on the YouTube channel.
Oh, no question about it. An athlete like me cannot be contained. I mean, I don't care if it's a body of water. I don't care where it is. And the Bennington, it's absolutely French kiss, chef's kiss. Fantastic.
Yeah, the French kiss. PowerLodge.com and MillerMarine.com.
I corrected myself. All right.
All right, what's
stop,
left in Judd's
stop. I don't ever need to see your tongue again. No, please, God, no. Okay, I'm going to continue in my camp notes here. Jordan Addison returns to practice. He is back at practice out of concussion protocol. I fully don't expect to see him play on Saturday, but he looked good today, made a few nice catches. Very interesting that the Vikings, it's clear how tight the competition is. And look, Jefferson and Osborne and Addison are completely safe. But it's interesting to see how many guys like Powell and Tristan Jackson and Jalen Reagor are being run in with the first team. Like, there is competition here. Just to be clear, Jalen Naylor back at practice the last couple practices, did not practice today, so he's not been cleared for obviously full practice yet. But Addison has looked really, really good. Again, I think if he stays healthy, he's going to have a really nice year. But my concern is, can he stay consistently healthy?
Yeah, I think there are some diminutive receivers out there, guys who are shorter or smaller or lighter. And in today's NFL, you don't get lit up like you would maybe 15, 20, 30 years ago. So if he can just avoid the big hit, I think the question would be, does he injure himself in other ways, like spraining an ankle or something?
Well, the concussions.
concussions. Yeah.
I mean, he's not a big guy. He's gonna be faced with press coverage at times, and when he is, he's gonna get blasted. And I guess my question is, what's his response?
Yeah. No, it's a good. I think it's an off season that has raised those questions fairly for Jordan Addison.
Mm-hmm. Rookie cornerback Mekhi Blackman still being brought along slowly, was not doing teamwork today. So Joanne Williams, the veteran who was signed for the Patriots, was in the first team nickel defense. Blackman was doing individual work, so I expect him to be fine. I would guess. Again, I think if he's healthy and has practiced enough, which he should be able to, I would not be surprised if he actually plays outside in the nickel and the big dime to start the season, that it's not Joanne Williams. Lewis Cine, still out. So he's been out now, got hurt 2 days ago, didn't go through the walkthrough yesterday, and didn't practice today. O'Connell says it's not a big deal, but it's always a big deal when Lewis Cine misses practice time. So I don't know how to spin this. Like, there's no positive here. It's a big deal. If he misses practice time, he's going to make the roster, but I think the real question is, what can he contribute?
Yeah, and I think, of course, Kevin O'Connell is going to downplay it and, either look to the positive or just. And another thing too is the Vikings can be really vague about injuries until the Wednesday before the first game of the season. So we're not gonna. They have no reason to give us a full update on the extent of anyone's injuries for another 2 weeks or so. So we're just going to be out here sort of guessing, and that's why we have guys like Judd Zulgad to ask tough questions to TJ Hawkinson, to Kevin O'Connell. That's why we send the sports dad out on the ground. Brian Asamoah.
I get his name right now.
Asamoah.
And find out that it was a bad shoulder. Going to be very interesting, by the way, to see who starts, by Jordan Hicks, too, in week 1.
I mean, right now, it's probably Pace, right? Would they just – it's not like, again, Asamoah.
Yeah.
Got to get used to this. Brian Asamoah. It's not like he's coming in having been the 2-year starter, and, you can miss some camp. Like, he hasn't played either. So maybe it's Pace. This we'll find out.
All right, final note. It's the kicker. I was going to say kickers. There's no kickers anymore. There's kickers. So I got the Declan good news, but then I'm going to follow with the thing that scares Phil. So this is going to have two sides to it. Greg Joseph on PATs, 2 for 2. On field goal attempts at the end of practice, 4 of 5. So, 4 of 5. The miss, though, by my count, trying to mark it off myself and see how long the kicks were from, 45 yards, which is, I think, Phil, what you've expressed a little bit of, like, that's the sweet spot of, dude, you've got to make all those.
Yeah, well, for me, it's more like the 50-plus. We need to stop treating the 50-plus yard misses as, well, they're just, they're 50, it's a 53-yarder. What are you supposed to do? Well, no, today's NFL kickers make those kicks at like a 70% rate.
Right.
So, he missed one. I'm not going to freak out. He's going to miss some kicks in practice.
I want to give it, I want to give everyone equal opportunity to either praise Greg Joseph or panic about it.
Mm-hmm. I see it as an opportunity for him to continue striving for perfection. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kevin O'Connell. It's not what's wrong with him.
It's pretty hilarious.
What could be right with him?
Yeah, what could be right with him? Yeah, and I'm like, no, that's not how I view life.
Pretty hilarious. There was this kicking competition. And the guy doesn't even kick a field goal in a meaningless game. So,
dude, you better be careful here, because I got a bad feeling you're tempting fate here. Eventually, something really bad's going to happen. He's going to miss week 1. He's going to miss a huge kick. Something's going to happen here, and then you're going to have to be like, it's not that big a deal, and we're all going to say, yeah, it is. Yeah,
I would
stand by your man.
Yeah, I'm fine here.
Man.
I don't feel like your man should be the Vikings kicker.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the guy who was multiple times player of the week and won the Vikings. I feel like win multiple games last year. You're right.
I feel like you should pick somebody else. I feel like you should pick. I feel like you should ride a different horse.
I'm not riding any horse. I can tell you that much. It doesn't matter if it's Greg Joseph or a Justin Jefferson horse. I'm not riding any horse. Okay,
that's not what our viewers want. They want you to ride a horse.
I'm not getting on any horse. No chance.
Okay, if Greg Joseph gets cut by the Vikings during the season, Declan has to ride a horse on the YouTube channel.
No. If he hits a kick in the Super Bowl to win for the Vikings, I will ride the horse. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Deal. Or
On
you
the-
know
it's
what?
on the
I'll
record.
up it.
Nope.
If he gets to the
You'll
puts
buy a
the
horse?
Vikings, no, I will not buy a horse. I do not want those animals near me.
You'll ride a horse at your wedding. No, you'll ride a camel at your
Yes,
wedding.
dude.
You'll go AP on it.
Oh my god. I was gonna
Yeah,
say
well,
NFC Championship game. I was gonna say NFC Champ. If he kicks a field goal to put them into the Super Bowl, I would still probably ride a horse for the YouTube channel.
Okay. We're going to take the word probably out, and this is going to be verbally binding here.
Okay.
All right. If Greg Joseph kicks a game winner, so Declan's terrified of horses for the audience that doesn't know the background here. So basically, in the biggest moment of your life as a Vikings fan, you're kind of going to be rooting against it.
No, that's what I will do for a Super Bowl. I will conquer my
Okay.
fears
That's
to
fair.
ride a GD horse. I will do that. I will do that. I'll forgive it. I'll do it.
All right. On the record, don't let us forget, audience. Okay. If this happens, don't.
No, I
make
won't
sure
forget this. I mean, first of all, they'll be going to a Super Bowl. Second of all, it's too good to forget.
No. All right. Speaking of too good to forget, those are Judd's camp notes. Hope everyone learned something today from the sports dad and the way that he attacks these training camp practices with you guys in mind, the audience.
With water.
Mm.
Yeah.
Make sure you
for
hydrate properly. You got another one
will.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to, I think, be down in the 80s. It's going to
Oh,
be
feel cool. You're bringing a
chilly.
sweater by the end of this.
It's going to be chilly by
Yeah.
comparison.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're done with the ridiculous temps for now.
Okay. So yeah, there it is. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Almost an hour of Judd's camp notes here live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Click the like button and the subscribe button if you would, please. And yeah, remember that we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die around here. We'll talk more Trey Lance tomorrow, and then these guys with another live stream recap of day 2 joint practice